Democrat pollster Doug Schoen is sounding the alarm. He has a piece on the Hill today warning that his party is on the verge of a complete and total collapse. Again, the key here is that Democrat strategists are still reeling from their national humiliation before the eyes of the world at Trump's speech before a joint session of Congress last week, where he articulated a bold plan for the nation with massive supermajority support. But by contrast, as Schoen points out, the Democrats appeared as petulant, pouting teenagers, offering nothing, literally nothing to the nation in terms of vision or policy. Democrat Senator John Fetterman, who, remember, votes with Chuck Schumer 99% of the time, nevertheless said that it was a, quote, sad cavalcade of self-owns and unhinged petulance. It only makes Trump look more presidential and restrained. We're becoming the metaphorical car alarm that nobody pays any attention to. And it may not be the winning message. Yeah, well, this fellow Democrat, Doug Schoen, being the pollster and data analyst that he is, assures his fellow Democrats this is most certainly not the winning message. He pointed to a recent poll by a liberal outlet called Blueprint, which sampled the Democrats' own base, and they found, get this, they found that only 10% of their voters, their diehards, think the Democrats have a good plan to effectively oppose the president. 10%. It doesn't get a lot worse than that. 40% of their base, again, keep in mind, these are Democrat voters. 40% of their base believe that their party is clueless. They do not have an effective plan to deal with President Trump. In other words, the Democrats have not even begun to convince their own base, let alone reach out to independents and the undecideds. They've literally collapsed with their own voters. And it just keeps getting worse for them. Here's Britt Hume on what he thinks is going to happen to the Democrats with this continuing resolution that's before Congress.
That's right. And I think the issue here is not the House. I think that this bill will pass the House, bill to keep the government open. But they do need Democratic votes because it is subject to filibuster in the Senate, and they don't have a majority big enough to cover that, so they'll need some Democrats. The question then becomes whether, if indeed Democrats do not provide those votes and the government thereafter shuts down, which is what would happen, and it's not a full shutdown, we all know that, but it's a partial shutdown, and nobody ever likes it, and the party that gets blamed is always suffers from it. And the Democrats, I think, seem to think that because, you know, they're the party of government, nobody will blame them. That may be different this time because it'll be pretty plainly obvious that by refusing to provide a handful of votes, they caused the government shutdown. So I'm not sure they'll be able to escape it this time, but we'll see if they're going to try.
Right. And the important point here is that given what the Democrats did last Tuesday night, given that humiliating, those utterly cringeworthy antics at the Trump speech last week, who do you think the voters are going to blame for shutting the government down, were it to shut down? They're obviously going to blame all the Democrats that voted against the CR. They're going to blame the pouting, petulant teenagers they saw on display last week. And things will only end up even worse for a party that's already in a doom loop. Again, we talked about this yesterday, but a young columnist by the name of Joshua Cohen, a Gen Zer, someone born before 2012, wrote a great piece, Why Democrats Are Losing My Generation. And he talks about how voters under 40, the so-called youth vote, shifted to Trump by 20 points from 2020, precisely because of what the Democrats have become under Biden. They became the party of economic decline. Became the party of inflation, stagflation, of stagnation, the erosion of standards of living. And this fellow asks, what have Democrats done thus far to reverse that perception? And then this takes us full circle to the Democrat pollster Doug Schoen's piece on the Hill today. It's actually the opposite. Everything that the Democrats have done thus far only further confirms and corroborates that perception. They are the party of incoherence, the party of what one of our courageous conservative club members calls devoidism, devoid of any substance whatsoever. Oh, and by the way, if you want to get all these articles and tweets and stats that I'm referencing delivered to you, just click on the link in the description below and you can get all the articles I'm referencing emailed straight to your box. It's a service we love to provide for you so that you can have all this data right at the tips of your fingers. But gang, if you can believe it, it actually only gets worse for the Democrats. And that's because while they're caught in their own doom loop, Trump and the Republicans continue to absolutely crush it when it comes to voter registrations all across the country. Wait until you see these numbers, gang. This promises to be a game changer, not just for the midterms, but for 2028 as well. It's going to absolutely blow you away. But first, I will be the first to admit that bad habits can be a struggle for anyone, myself, unfortunately included. And when I hear about a good solution to solving a bad habit I know many people deal with, I can't wait to share it with my people. What if I told you that there was an enjoyable and fun alternative to one of the most prevalent bad habits in our society? Well, that's where Fume comes in. This new flavored air device is quickly becoming the new alternative to those old choices. So whether you're helping someone build better habits or just want to give them something fun and relaxing, Fume makes an awesome gift for everyone. It's an award-winning flavored air device with phenomenal flavor, and it's a guilt-free option with non-toxic flavors like peach blush and sparkling cranberry. It's like having your favorite herbal tea and knowing you could feel good about it. And the best part about Fume is that it fills a void when you're trying to kick those nasty habits, and it's one more way that courageous conservatives can fight against the left and their agenda to keep Americans down. Fume conducts third-party studies. They have amazing quality control of their products, and they're developed with real doctors here in the USA. Head to tryfume.com/Steve Turley and use code Steve Turley to get a free Fume topper when you order a journey pack. Again, click on that link below or go to tryfume.com/Steve Turley or just scan the QR code on screen to grab yours now. Many of you caught my interview with data analyst and election modeler Seth Keshel last week. Seth was 56 of 56 in his 2024 predictions. He was absolutely spot on, one of the best election modelers out there. We had him on the channel several times leading up to the election. And he has a new piece on his Substack on voter registration trends where the Republicans are just absolutely crushing it all across the country. He looks at a number of states, including the swing states, and in every single state that he analyzes, Republican registration since November 5th is through the roof. He starts with the key state of Florida, where the Republicans have netted nearly, get this, 170,000 more voter registrations since November 5th. Now, you might ask, it's Dr. C, who cares about Florida? It's solid red. We got it. We captured it. What's the point? Well, again, this is the part of Seth's brilliant election analysis. His data shows that Florida, Pennsylvania, and Michigan always work together as a triad. So as Florida goes, so goes Pennsylvania and Michigan. So the more Florida turns red, the more both Pennsylvania and Michigan should go red as well. So Florida, in the sense, is a bit of a bellwether. And lo and behold, that's exactly what we're seeing. Since November, Democrats have lost another 106,000 net registrations to the GOP in Pennsylvania. They've gone from a +3 voter advantage to now just a +2. We're actually now within 90,000 voter registrations from officially flipping Pennsylvania red. Every single county in the state, even their blue counties, are becoming more and more red. Take a look at the latest numbers coming out of New Hampshire. New Hampshire is ripe for the taking in 2026 and 2028. Trump came within 3 points of winning the Granite State, and Republicans have only gained since. The Republicans have netted an additional 10,000 new registrations since November. And if Chris Sununu is the GOP nominee for the Senate in 2026, this actually could be a very easy pickup. And again, with continued GOP registration advantages, New Hampshire is poised to finally flip for the next presidential contest in 2028. And this is literally what we're seeing everywhere. New York, New Jersey, North Carolina, Arizona, Nevada. The GOP is crushing it in voter registrations. And as Seth's Election models demonstrate voter registration trends are the most accurate predictor for election outcomes. So if the Republicans continue to crush it over the next several months, we are in for a historic midterm and for another presidential landslide in 2028.